Oh, that is so beautiful. I love that bronzy, smoky look. Oh,
You're still my favorite queen of the night. My friend, let's drive off again. Let's drive off again.
all right, my beautiful glam sisters, let's jump right into it. So I have the brand new Nars Laguna eyeshadow quad. This little quad has not gotten very much attention, nor from the brand or other influencers. So I am really surprised. This is a great summer palette. It is beautiful. I wasn't quite sure. I saw it on the Ulta website when I was looking at what's new, and then I ordered it and I was like, oh my gosh. When I got it in person, I was like, this is even more beautiful than it was on the stock pictures online. This has become quickly one of those palettes I just reach for and just do a quick 5-minute shadow look. And that's what we're gonna do today. I have a new liner from Huda Beauty we're gonna test out as well. And between that liner and this palette, I'm just like, this is the best summer bronzed look you could possibly want. So we are gonna go over all of my top eyeshadow palettes and the ones that I reach for the most. I'm not gonna have a lot, but I'm gonna have that one little handful of palettes and I'm like, these are the palettes I highly recommend, and this will definitely be in it. Okay, maybe it's a little bit more than a handful, let's be honest. But this little quad is not available at Sephora yet, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be on that site soon because I loved the new Nars Orgasm eyeshadow palette that I talked about. I have that video, you can check it out. I still love that palette so much, and that was at Ulta, and then it was available at Sephora shortly after. So this will probably go to Sephora as well. This little quad delivers a mighty little punch, and let me tell you guys, these swatches were so creamy and easy to blend. I was just completely shocked how good it was. Now it's priced at $49, which is hefty, I will admit that, but the quality of this is so impeccable, you guys, and I have been going to it non-stop, so I feel like I'm getting my money's worth, even though I did get a discount with my birthday credit as well as some Ultimate Rewards points. So I think I paid around 30 something. And not only were the swatches good, the way it performs on the eye. And the fact that I can do this so quick and easy. And this is a perfect palette to travel with during the summer because it's tiny. I already have my eyeshadow base on because I didn't want to take too long in this video, and I have been doing it a lot on my eyeshadow look, so you can go back and look. I will put an eyeshadow playlist right there. So this is the Gerard Cosmetics Clean Canvas in Fair. You guys, this is just my ultimate base. It just, for me personally, I'm so picky, especially with mature over 40 eyes. I mean, I'm in my mid 40s now at 45. I have to find a base that's gonna give me a nice clean canvas. It's gonna go over my not so smooth eyelid area. And this just, I mean, I barely set that down and it's not even really hardly creasing. It is just the perfect base. Lately, what I've been doing is setting my base with just my Charlotte Tilbury Medium 2 powder. And I just take my Sigma E61 and I just go like this and I just kind of lightly set it down. I don't do too much of the lid space area because I'm gonna put metallics there, but I just want to make sure that that's smooth. For me, I just found that yes, a tacky base is gonna give you a little bit more pigment in the shadows, but I find that sometimes, even though I like the pressing motions, I also like to swipe, and having that softness there with the Charlotte Tilbury powder just gives me a better, especially for quick looks, and that's what I really want to concentrate on, is quick looks. Oh, I forgot to go over this really quick. So this is the new Huda Beauty Creamy Kohl eyeliners. They come in 2 shades. I did get very brown. This is a really beautiful pigmented eyeliner, and I'll put the price point right there. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I really like this formula. It is really, really beautiful, and it stays all day. So let's jump into this look. Again, this is the Nars Laguna eyeshadow palette. So we're gonna start off with that first shade as the transition, and that's just the matte, the only matte in this palette, and it's just a really beautiful brown. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it on to this Sigma E28 Detail Buffer. I've been really liking this, and I have this color on there already. I did wipe it off, so there's really nothing on it. It's just kind of stained on there, but this is the exact color I had on there because I've been playing with it. And I'm just gonna do one swipe of that. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous brown, like the perfect transition brown. And I'm just going to place that right there. We will do some swiping motions in a second. I'm just placing the pigment in first. Same shade, opposite eye. We are gonna mix this with a Danessa Myricks color fix that I just love and adore so much. I literally did a look in less than 5 minutes the other day with this palette. I didn't do any pressing motions. I just did some swiping real quick motions because I didn't have very much time, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. All right, I'm gonna take my Sonia G, and this is the Crease 2 brush, and I'm just gonna do like a little smidge of that, okay? Just a little. And we're just gonna go above that now and just kind of start buffing it in now. Kind of diffusing out what I already did and creating a nice transition. It's just such a beautiful, do you guys see how smooth and easy this is? For my bronze lovers, you're going to love this palette. I'm actually gonna do some swiping motions now, and I'm just kind of pressing that in and swiping now, and I'm just building up that color. We already laid it down, and now I'm just building it up. And this is our only matte shade in the palette, so we're just gonna make this one be kind of the contour. I used this over the Tower 28 the other day, and it was so pretty. This one I just talked about in the last video when I was testing new makeup. You can check that out. This is the Tower 28 Sculptino, and this is in Getty. I used this as the base, and it literally lasted all day, and it was so beautiful underneath this palette. Today we're just gonna do this because I just want to show you guys the shadows on its own. Just taking a little bit more of that matte brown, and we're just gonna build that up. And now I'm starting to do more swiping motions. And then we're gonna take my E61, and this has nothing on it. I'm just gonna start blending that. Do you guys see how easy that is? If I wasn't talking and demoing stuff, it would literally take me like 1 minute to do that color, less than that. It's just that palette for my moms out there that are just like, I don't have a lot of time, Kristi. I have like literally less than 5 minutes to get an eyeshadow look in or my makeup done. This is your palette right here. This is just unbelievably good. All right, so since that's, I want to just build up because I just want a little bit more definition. We are going to take this BK Beauty A504. It's just that really tiny brush, perfect for hooded eyes. And just to get a little bit more dimension, I'm just going to take that matte color, and we're just going to build that up into the crease right here, and just to give a little bit more definition there, dimension and definition. And then you're going to see what I'm going to do here in just a second. That up. Slowly but surely. Now I'm gonna take this copper, and it's more of a shimmer. Here, let me show you guys. It's more of like a shimmer shade, but it has depth in there. And it's so smooth. It's just a very, very, very smooth formula, and one that you can definitely work within the crease. So I'm gonna take it onto that BK Beauty A504, the same brush, and we're gonna start building that up right here. Do you see how pretty that is? And that's a shimmer shade. It doesn't have a lot of glitter. It just has a lot of smoothness. It's super creamy. We're just building up the outer area. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're just putting definition in there, and then we're gonna go over it with the matte color in a second. And going back to the Sonia G crease brush, we're gonna take that matte shade, and we're just gonna go over that now, just to blend. Do you see how easy that is? I mean, goodness gracious, that cannot get easier. It's so beautiful too. And if you want more depth, then put any kind of creamy contour underneath it, and you're gonna get even more depth, or an eyeliner, however you guys wanna do it. All right, now I'm gonna take the same brush and we're just gonna kind of dip into this shimmer, that same shimmer shade, and I'm just gonna kind of go right there, just to kind of blend the two and mesh them together, that shimmer shade. And I think it's just shade 4. I don't think these have names. I think it's like Laguna 4 or something like that, if I remember right. Just like that. Ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Once I clean up, it's gonna be beautiful. All right, I'm gonna take my Danessa Myricks, and this is the Color Fix in Gold Mine. I tell you guys all the time, this is one of my holy grail eyeshadow products. This gives you the most beautiful glimmer. And then Danessa Myricks runs sales all the time as well. It's such a beautiful color. And then watch this. I mean, can we just talk about that? A little goes a very, very long way. It is gorgeous. I mean, if you like sparkle and you like gold copper tones, this is your shadow. It is beautiful. And these little suckers do not budge. I wore these for hours and they never budged, just so you guys know that. So we're gonna take that onto just a small little brush to start off with, just because I just find that it's easier to do that with. So this is just a Sigma E47. And this is just a really good one to do the inner corner as well as metallics and hard to reach places. I just kind of like to squeeze a little bit onto the tip of the brush, because I find if I put it on my hand, that was even too much. That's a little too much, so I'm just gonna try to like do it on both eyes here. But if I squeeze it on the back of my hand, sometimes I feel like I waste too much product. But it is a little bit easier to do it that way. Shoot. Okay, that was too much. See, that was too much. That's the hard part about, you have to be really accurate with it. Gosh, this is so pretty though, you guys. This was a little too much, but that's okay. I love this little brush to do this with. Any kind of pots and stuff like that, like you have, this is such a great brush to use, and it's so affordable. It's soft enough to blend, but dense enough to get the glitters in there, the pigments in there. Do you guys see that? I love sparkles so much. I tell you, these 3 things are all I've been reaching for lately. These 3 palettes right here. My Melt Cosmetics Brunette palette, which goes amazing with this palette because you get more of those depth colors in there that you can add in there. Like if I was traveling tomorrow, this is all I would bring right here. That's all I would bring. That's all I would need. It's just the perfect combination right here. Oh my goodness. To get a little bit more depth, because I went a little bit more glamorous than I thought I was gonna do, I'm gonna take this shade called Tan from the Melt Brunette palette, just because I just want just a little bit more depth in there. I'm gonna take it onto my Sony G Mini Booster. I'm just going in with Tan, and I'm just gonna give it a little bit, see how that just gave me a little bit more depth there. And we're gonna go into this second shimmer shade, and we're gonna take that and we're gonna transition that dark part into the light part. See how that kind of just blends those two together now, and we're kind of setting down, same color on this side. We're just kind of setting down the Danessa Myricks Color Fix while also just kind of transitioning at the same time. More stipple that in there. Oof. So pretty. All right, and then we're gonna do the same thing on the inner portion of the eyes. We're gonna take that, same brush, same shade. We're just pressing that in like that. Same second shade. Press, press, press. Just gonna kind of bring that up like that. Now we're gonna take, oh, it's so pretty. Now we're gonna take that first shade. Oh, goodness gracious. That is such a beautiful metallic. Just a really pretty champagne light gold. Ooh, ooh la la. It's nothing too intense, but it's just enough. And over the Danessa Myricks, it's even more beautiful. It's just, oh, it's really pretty. So I'm gonna take that onto my finger. We're just gonna press that down the center. Do you see how over the Danessa Myricks, it's just so pretty. And I'll fix the edges, don't mind that, it's a little messy. I'm actually gonna go in with my rougher number 21 brush, same color. We're gonna really saturate that. If you want more wetness, wet your brush. Just kind of going all around and pressing things in like that. Ooh, 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 ooh. Goodness gracious. All right, going back into this shade, and we're gonna mix those two onto this BK Beauty A504. And we're just gonna go around right there, just like that. Again, mixing those two together. Just going around the edges. I think to give us just a little bit more depth, because I am gonna do a lower lash line color, I'm gonna go into the darkest shade in the brunette palette called Brunette. Same brush, and I'm just gonna push this in right there. Oh yeah. I just want just a little more oomph there. Do you guys see how these just play so well together? I can't even tell you my love for this brunette palette too. I think you guys know by now, like that's all I can talk about, how good it is. Just going back to that first brush, I'm gonna take a little bit more of this matte shade in the Nars Laguna palette. And we're just gonna go above that, like that. Just gonna bring the remainder of whatever into my nose contour. Take my Sigma E61 and blend that. Now I'm gonna take this rougher number 1 brush, and we're gonna go into my Charlotte Tilbury powder. Gonna take that there. Before we do the highlight, I'm just gonna smooth out any edges around this area right there. Bring back some of that bone color. And I don't want to swipe, because then that becomes muddy that way. So just make sure you do more pressing in like that. Now we're gonna take that Sonia G crease brush that we were using and just kind of go back and make sure we didn't lose any depth right there. Nothing extra on the brush, just whatever was left over. Now I'm gonna go in with that lighter color, the first shade, and we're gonna take that onto the brow bone area. This is just a Wayne Goss brush. I'm gonna take that and kind of just highlight that brow bone right there. Just a little bit. I don't want it to be too much. And then we're gonna take that on the inner corner. Actually, we're gonna use this one first, that second shade. This one right here, we're gonna use that one first. And we're gonna build up a base there first. And then I'll go in with this one, the first one. And we'll press that right in there. Press that right in there, and right there. Just like that. Ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh, so easy. Okay, now we're gonna go in with the new Huda liner. This is again the creamy coal liner. Let me show you guys that color. It's that perfect chocolate brown, and it goes perfectly with this palette. I love that this is really smooth, it's easy to apply, and it doesn't tug for mature eyes. Oh, such a beautiful color too. Beautiful. I'm telling you, between this one doesn't tug as much as the Sephora one, because this is more of like your traditional pencils, just so you guys know. All right, I am gonna, to set that down, I'm gonna go into this palette, this brunette palette. I'm gonna take this brunette shade on this rougher number 23 brush. You guys know this is my favorite one to set my eyeliners. Okay, now I'm gonna go back to the Nars palette. We're actually going to take this copper one on the rougher number 23. And I'm gonna kind of go underneath it, not over the liner, but underneath it. So like right here, just like that. Ooh, that's really pretty. It's really pretty. I haven't tried this look yet. I've only done it without a lower lash line. I haven't done it with a lower lash line. Now I'm gonna take my rougher number 3 brush, and we're gonna go into the transition shade that we used, the only matte shade in the Nars Laguna palette. And we're gonna go underneath all of that. Oh, that is so beautiful. I love that bronzy, smoky look. Oh, This palette is so gorgeous. I love, love, love this palette. And that creamy coal liner from Huda Beauty, oh my gosh, that is such a good brown. Good browns are hard to come by. That is so pretty. Ooh, all right, I'm gonna pop on my lashes and I'll be right back. So that is how the final look turned out. I did pop on my Amy June Eve 3D Silk lashes. You can use code Kristi15 and get 15% off of your lashes at amyjune.com. This is such a beautiful eyeshadow palette mixed in with this Melt Cosmetics palette. Oh my gosh, these two are just like chef's kiss perfection, you guys. Oh my goodness. I give this palette a 5 out of 5. This new Nars Laguna palette is so beautiful. I highly recommend it. 100% of me enjoyed it and loved it a lot. All right, let's go over all of my top eyeshadow picks. My number one palette is going to be the Melt Brunette palette. By no surprise to many of you, this is just my ultimate palette. This is the palette that I can say, if I can't have any other palette, this is be the one palette I would want if you took away everything. This one and the next one. So these are kind of tied for first because they're two different palettes. This is more of a warm bronzy tone color, but if you like more cool tones, neutral tones, yet it does give you a little bit of warmth in this palette, this Natasha Denona Glam palette is the palette for you. I love both of these equally. The formulation, the color story, everything about this Natasha Denona Glam palette, from the way it performs to those gorgeous, cool, neutral tones, it's just perfection. So tied for first, these are my top two palettes of all time. I mean, seriously, they're so, so good because you get the metallics and the mattes with it. Now, as far as mattes, if you're like, Kristi, I am just a matte girl, Viseart Neutrals palette and Viseart Warm palette are my two top matte palettes of all time. I think they took them away from Sephora, but I'm not positive. But you can get them on beautylish.com and other retailers that I will include in the description box. But as far as one of my top palettes of all time is the Viseart Bridal 03 palette. You guys just know I cannot stop raving about this palette enough. I mean, just every single shade in here is perfection to me. The formulation, the consistency for mature eyes, this glides on like a flippin' dream. Now, I would say all of these top three palettes glide on like a dream and are just so, if they're impeccable for over 40, 45-year-old skin, then they're gonna be impeccable for any age group, because as we mature, our eyes become a little bit more crepey and not as smooth as when we were in our 30s or even early 40s. Us girls in our mid 40s to late 40s and beyond, we have to really pay attention to the formulas that we are using. Now, the next palette I would throw in there would be the Nars one, just because it's small and you don't get very many options, but the performance of this is so beautiful. So I highly recommend picking that up. Now, I don't have a video on this, but I've talked about this. This is the Melt Cosmetics Gemini palette. This is another one I highly recommend. If you love greens, browns, it has that ultra black shade, one of the best black mattes on the market. It just has a really beautiful correlation of browns and greens. If you are into those shades, highly recommend. This brand new reformulated Gemini palette is even better than the original. It's so good. The next palette would be, no surprise, Pat McGrath, the new Venetian Sunrise Quad. I just did a full face of Pat McGrath and I did an eyeshadow tutorial on that palette, so you can check it out. The swatches on this are unbelievably beautiful. Now, this would be like my all-time favorite palette if it had more golden brown undertones, but because they were more on the purplish side, which is typical of Pat McGrath, I really, really hope she someday comes out with a little bit more golden brown undertones, just as a change. And I think that would be such an awesome little quad, because a lot of people can't afford the big, large mothership palettes. Although they're beautiful, a lot of people can't afford that, especially during these times. So I like the option of these quads and quints, and I do feel like her quints really are so amazing, but a lot of them are limited edition. So like that bronze one that I did a look on, oh my gosh, it's one of my favorite palettes of all time, but it's not available anymore. So that makes it tough. I love the Star Wars one. That quint is unbelievable, but you have to like blues and greens or you won't get your money's worth. So that's where I find, but I mean, her metallics, besides Danessa Myricks, are so unbeatable. The good thing about the Pat McGrath and Natasha Denona, even Natasha, sorry, I forgot to include her in that with the metallics, they come out with a little bit more wearable ones, whereas the Danessa Myricks one is not as wearable. So that would be the only downfall to the Danessa, but we will be including that as well. The next eyeshadows are from Surratt Beauty. I'm going to be doing a full face of Surratt. Surratt has the most incredible formulas, and they don't get spoken about a lot. A lot of their stuff is made in Japan. I cannot tell you guys enough how amazing that quality is. It glides on our more textured skin and it just wears so beautifully throughout the day. And I really love how natural and glistening the metallics are. They're just, the shimmers are just unbelievably beautiful. Greige is one of my favorite all-time transition shades. It's such a beautiful taupey brown, and then some of the new metallics they've sent over to me are just unreal. So can't wait to dive into more of that as well. And then if you like metallics, you're like, I am a huge metallic lover, this is the final palette, and this is the Danessa Myricks Mini Lightworks palette. This is beautiful duo, trio, quadruple chromes. I mean, they just are so insanely beautiful. I mean, there's really no words for palettes like this. Really no words. I mean, it's just so beautiful. As far as glitter, metallics, and stuff like that, if you like stuff like that, I personally do, because I think it's really great for us mature skin girls to have some kind of base underneath the opacity of some of these metallic shades that we put on. And my top picks are going to be the one I used today, which is the Danessa Myricks Color Fix, and the Gold Mine is my favorite. I also love, oh, there's a couple others. I'll put them right there of all the ones that I love, of the shades that I love. But this is just such a beautiful shade, and they're not bad price point. But again, Danessa runs really great deals during Black Friday, and you can wait for that time frame as well. And then the other would be the Hourglass Scattered Lights. You guys already know what a huge fan I am of Vivid. We've talked about this a million times, and this will always and forever be my ultimate green eyeshadow, but I have a lot of colors from here and I love them all. This one is more of a taupe shade, and this one is in Smoke. I love this one. I love combining this one with the Natasha Denona Glam palette. It's a really beautiful base to put underneath. It's a gorgeous smoky taupe shade. And then the other one I like is Foil, and Foil is definitely more of like that really gold. Like this would have been absolutely stunning in place of the Danessa Myricks that we used today. That would be really pretty on the lid. The way these glisten in the sun is like no other. This formulation just cannot be beat. I really still think it's one of the top like pot formulations on the market, and I just think for mature skin, it's what we need. All of those links will be in the description box below, and you guys can see when you use my codes or any stuff like that that I have with like dermatology, that really helps support my channel as well. So thank you so much. It's an amazing skincare line. You guys know the primer is just my ultimate primer now. So all of that stuff, everything combined together will help support my channel. Even if you don't have the extra funds, just again, watching my videos all the way through the end with the commercials and all of that really does help my channel grow, helps push my videos up through the algorithm when you hit the like button and all that stuff. And if you are new here and you haven't hit that subscribe button, please remember to hit that subscribe button and click the post notification bell. Join us. We're here every week, and we just love for you to become part of our glam fam. If you like videos like this, please give it a huge thumbs up when you guys hit the like button and comment below. It really does help my videos out so much. Thank you guys. I love you. Be sure to follow me on all of my socials at Kristi Allure. Check out my merch again, glamourouslifecollections.com, and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.
Never up, never down, never. like a theme in a song, clever. Feeling high, feeling low at the same time. Feels so right, then I'm wrong, hoping I'll be fine. But I get up, I always do. I never think, I always do. Never thought